bodies in?
They looked gruesome. Nothing an elf would have done, nor a human.
I don't work for free.
You'll get your reward. Do well, and I may give you something more than coin. We're losing good men.
I'll see what I can do.
Let me tell you about the woman
Get up!
who fell from...
Come on! I've had enough of flying women.
It was very...
You won't trick me into buying you around.
Look, another one. You let one human...
Geralt, sit down. We haven't yet celebrated your raid into the mist. Sorry. Where are my manners? Sheldon Skaggs, veteran of the battles of Sodden and Brenna.
And all ends along the way.
You've already met Vergen's elder?
Greetings. Gentlemen, not sure about you, but my throat's parched from all these greetings.
Funny. Those were the first words out of your mouth.
Master Dandelion's right. Around for everyone! On me!
I'd gladly drink, but Saskia was poisoned and time is of the essence.
How can we help? Speak!
Have you ever heard of a plant called the Dwarven Immortelle?
Have we? The pigs have tight arses.
To tell the truth, I've no idea, Skaggs.
Well, it's just a saying.
You're the only one using it.
Witcher, the Immortelle. It appears most often near anthracite and aluminosilicate deposits.
Philippa needs it to heal Saskia.
A rare curio, but there's a mine nearby, and who knows? You might find it deep underground.
Why are you dwarves fighting for Saskia?
If I had a knack for business, I'd be sitting on my arse in my own inn, not giving a shit for this war. And what's my trade? Axe swinging. That's what. And if I could get killed, I'd rather know what I'm risking my neck for.
The woman's cuckoo, ready to spit in the Emperor's face even. But I have to admit, she knows all about warcraft. And damn it, she's right. Free Vergen, no matter if you're a dwarf, man or mangy elf.
Do you hear him, Zigrin? Down on the elves already. But I bet he wouldn't sniff at 30 additional archers in battle.
Is the mine far?
Not at all. It's in Vergen itself, in the town's upper quarter.
You're eager for this expedition, but nobody told the Witcher that the mine's closed.
Closed, that's true. But it's long overdue a cleaning. Weed out all the underground shit.
What are you talking about?
Not a month ago, miners started disappearing. Must have tapped the wrong vein and woken some scum from the deep. We wanted to send a crew of stout fellows in, but Saskia said she needs all the soldiers she can find up top and ready to defend the town. We closed the shaft, fearing the filth would emerge and overrun us all.
Looks like we arrived just in time, eh, Geralt?
So it seems. Let's
Right on. With this crew, we needn't fear any monster. How about you, Sheldon? You coming with us, or staying around to get your fuck?
Another chance like this won't come around in a hurry. Fucking can wait. I'm with you.
Let's meet at the mine's entrance.
I heard human women don't sit astride a man's
You've told that story 1,000 times. I've heard enough of flying women.
It was very unusual.
Hopefully unusual if you return home sober for once. You won't trick anybody around.
I never finished telling you. So, we were working at the fort, and one was still sweating.
Greetings, White Wolf.
There, it's dead. Maybe it's just a scene.
The Witcher's on board. We can go.
Let's get to work, my bearded friends.
Open the shaft, Skags. If you kill off those monsters, the whole of Vergum will be grateful. I'm sure some coin would be found.
We'll keep that in mind, Cecil.
So, Sheldon, you opened the shaft yet?
Keep your pricks in your trousers. You can't just plough forward all the time. A mine is like a lover. You need to be gentle, so she accepts you moist and hard.
You and your music, Sheldon.
Then I heard a square, and Cecil, bravely serious, says, "Who fed the bird, man?"
Poor son of a bitch. He almost got away.
I think I heard something.
Damn carrier. That was close.
What was that? son of a bitch. He almost got away.
I think I heard something.
Damn carrier. That was close.
What was that?
Necrophages. With this many appearing, they must have a nest nearby.
Come on! Show
you be kind
yourselves!
enough to move
I'll
that
let you
axe of
taste
yours?
my axe!
Oh, you're making them shit bricks.
Even then, they'd stink less than you.
No time for idle chatter. Can we go?
We should get together for a good libation.
No time for idle chatter.
things, Geralt.
Stay close to me.
Would you be kind enough to leave that axe of yours? Collapse this passage. Someone's down below.
Maybe some shit-filled necrophage cesspit.
Hey, gentlemen, let's focus on... getting close.
A true dwarf's got three things to do at night. Build a fortress, cut down an oak, and plough. Regular.
I wouldn't mind a drink about now.
Would you be kind enough to move that arse of yours?
mad you'd be begging me to kill you. This place stinks of rotting corpse.
They're here.
Let's grab what we need and get out of here. Right, Geralt. Looks like it's all over.
Thanks for your help, Zoltan.
Say nothing of it.
Enough yapping. Time for some vodka.
First, I want to see if my fuck date's still waiting.
Just don't strain yourself. It takes energy to drink with us too, you know.
What is it, Witcher?
Who is that girl?
Cynthia, a leashed sorceress.
A charming expression. Do you also use muzzles?
Leash means a connection between a sorceress and her assistant. An unfortunate term, I admit, but it explains how things are. Cynthia can tap my power, use my spells. She's a conduit. And she's learning along the way. It's convenient, and except for the name, not derisive at all. But you're not here to talk about Cynthia.
How is it that King Radovid's court sorceress and advisor is supporting rebellion in Edirn?
This has grown into more than a simple rebellion, Witcher. Prince Stennis' arrival here confirmed Saskia's right to represent Edirn.
Saskia isn't fighting for Edirn, but for the Pontar Valley. Even Prince Stennis considers you rebels. He hasn't moved against you because war with Kedwen hangs by a thread. Why are you here, Sorceress of Tretogor?
It is my duty. If Henselt occupies the Pontar Valley, Redania and Temeria will respond strongly. The North will disintegrate, its unity gone. A dark scenario that is nevertheless avoidable, provided Saskia is successful and wins the Valley's independence.
Even if she thwarts Henselt, there'll be no independence without agreement from Redania and Temeria.
Temeria's expansionist plans melted away with Foltest's death. Redania's ruler is unpredictable, but even he'll have to respect a victory. I'm here to make this victory a fact.
Is what they say true? Did Saskia kill a dragon?
Prince Stennis decorated her for it at the court in Vengerberg, so it appears to be true. If you want to know the details, talk to Biggerhorn. Apparently he witnessed it.
Have you heard about a Witcher's school? Apparently the Viper's their sign.
No, why do you ask?
The Kingslayer wears a medallion adorned with a viper.
Pretentious and childish for my taste. He can't be very smart.
A sorceress like you ought to know bundles about the wild hunt.
A sorceress's knowledge has nothing to do with superstitions.
The hunt's not a superstition.
True, the phenomenon seems to exist.
I want to know everything there is to know about it.
It's strictly atmospheric. It doesn't interest me. Just as whirlwinds, whirlpools, and snowfalls do not interest me.
I'm looking for Triss. Letho forced her to teleport near Vergen.
Letho?
Foltest's killer, perhaps Demavend's too. Will you help me find her?
Certainly. We sorceresses must stick together. We have too many enemies.
Triss contacted you through Sheila de Tanzerville's megascope while in Flotsam.
And I haven't heard from her since.
Can you locate her?
A megascope responds to a person's aura. If I had something of hers, I could find her. You were close to her. Maybe you have something.
No, I don't have anything.
Not good. Wait. A local drunkard claims he saw a redhead fall out of the sky. This could be a lead.
I never heard of flying women before.
Perhaps they're just drunken delusions. It's possible, however, that an unstable teleport ejected Triss near the town.
As it's our only lead, I'll talk to this drunkard. Do you know him?
I'm not used to associating with drunkards, but you'll likely find him in the inn.
Thank you.
Come back as soon as you learn anything.
Magic.
You wanted to discuss something?
I found an immortelle.
Excellent. You wanted to discuss something?
You said we'd need a magical object to cure Saskia. Any ideas where I might start looking?
Magical items do not grow on trees, as you know. Luckily, this area has a long history. There's the Battle of Wraiths, the site of Sabrina Glevisig's death and suffering, the abandoned mines.
I was hoping you'd be specific.
I won't ask you to traipse around with a divining rod, but please try to be a little inventive. Ask the locals, that's always a good place to start. I dare say Alderman Burden knows every last stone in the area. Maybe you should see him. You wanted to discuss something?
At the council, you mentioned artifacts were needed to undo the curse.
But I can't look for them now.
I can do that.
Why?
I have my reasons. Tell me something. What happened here 3 years ago?
Henselt attacked Edirn, but met his match. Nobody won that war. Sabrina Glevisig got into a conflict with the commander-in-chief of the Kedweni forces, and this led to both armies being routed. Fireballs turned the battlefield into a flaming tomb. Henselt accused Sabrina of using a forbidden weapon.
And Sabrina cursed Henselt.
I think so. I suspect the curse got out of hand because of the circumstances.
Circumstances? The stars weren't right, wrong phase of the moon. There's always an excuse for simple bungling.
She placed the curse while burning at the stake. Her hands and feet nailed to a wagon wheel. I'd say she did a good job, considering.
Did you notice? Not all the ghosts were aggressive.
Yes. Most just disappeared when they touched the aura of a living person.
I think the curse corrupts the ghosts of the fallen and turns them into Draugrs.
Is that the Witcher's professional name for wraiths?
Draugrs are demons of war. They arise at sites of exceptionally vicious, bloody battles. Their bloodlust and hatred in condensed form.
Can you kill them by conventional means?
A silver sword is enough for a Draugr, but as long as the curse remains active, new ones will arise. The soldiers' ghosts are the key. If I could turn the tide of the battle...
For that you'll need symbols of war belonging to those who fell in battle. Hatred, death, courage, and faith. All artifacts must be magically active and connected to the fallen, or they won't lure the ghosts.
Right. I'll look around.
Finding 2 will be enough. Get the symbols of hatred and death and leave the rest to me.
I'd prefer courage and faith.
Don't fuss.
I'll see what I can do. Cecil seems to know a lot about the area. Know anything about blood curses?
Do you?
We're dealing with a 4th level curse, also known as the Curse of the Archmistress.
Well, well, I'm impressed.
Thing is, until now I thought it was only a myth, that such a curse couldn't be cast.
You thought wrong. There are 6 confirmed cases of this curse being inflicted.
What about confirmed cases of it being lifted?
1. Achieved by a team of sorcerers led by Archmistress Francesca Finderbear, hence the curse's other name. Sabrina Glevisig was on the team.
Small world.
That's not all. The curse investigated by Francesca and Sabrina was designed to end the Tyson dynasty, the rulers of Kovir. They were cursed by Scarlet Rodalega, a complete madman, but very talented. An eclipse and wraiths also accompanied his curse.
So Sabrina's curse is just a knockoff Rodalega.
Exactly.
Can Francesca's experience help us?
Certainly. I know the symbols and the workings of the curse thanks to her.
Care to explain? I'm the one risking my neck.
You'll have to relive the battle and change its course at the right moment. I don't know exactly what will happen. Nobody does.
I'll look for those artifacts. I'm good for now. I'll let you know when I learn something. Who are you?
I'm Cynthia, a mage in training. Philippa is my mentor.
My condolences.
No need for that. True, she's a demanding mistress, but she can also be charming. Besides, she's the best there is, Witcher. She has no equals. Excepting, perhaps, the old elven sorceresses. You should see her cast spells. Light and graceful she is. Not like that old tart de Tanzaville.
You know Sheila?
I've seen her cast spells. I've seen all the great sorceresses at work. Sheila's quite manly in her style. Precise, logical, exceptionally composed. But she lacks grace and suppleness.
Is that your opinion? Or are you just repeating what Philippa says?
We agree in our assessment. Triss Merigold, on the other hand, is talented. But she lacks determination, courage, and a certain cold willfulness that seems necessary.
That's interesting.
Kira Metz and Margarita Lo Antiel are both blasé, seemingly resigned. One's a hedonist and nymphomaniac, the other cares only about her school. They lost enthusiasm for magic long ago. Then there's Francesca Finderbear. Nobody really knows what the old she-elf is capable of. But she's clearly very powerful.
I take it Philippa has none of these flaws, but she must have some weakness.
Ambition. Infinite, boundless, and burning like the Korath Desert.
Just out of curiosity, how much does a magic course cost these days?
I'm certain you can't afford it, Witcher. Besides, you're too old.
No matter. I have a few of my own tricks as it is.
You mean Witcher's signs? Philippa can conjure up the illusion of a garden full of flowers, fruit trees, and young elves of both sexes copulating merrily all the day. And the illusion is complete. The flowers have an aroma. The fruit and she-elves are juicy.
Invite me over the next time she conjures up this garden. I'd gladly see it. Professional curiosity.
Naturally. But I doubt Philippa's in the mood for complicated illusions. She focuses all her efforts on Saskia.
Let me tell you about the woman who fell from the
Look,
sky.
another one. You let one human in and in no time you've got a
I've
swarm.
heard enough of flying women. Ants.
It was very unusual.
I heard.
What would be unusual is if